everyone and welcome if you're new to the channel. I'm Leah and today we're going to be talking about things that I wish I knew before I started university. So like first year tips and advice, just things that I wish that I knew before I headed off to uni. I know that before I started I was watching videos about this in the August before going. I think everyone starts to get ready around August, starts preparing, starts collecting things to move in. So I just wanted to share what I've learned from my first year. If you don't already know, I'm about to go into my second year of uni. I have done a foundation year and completed first year. I study special effects makeup for film and TV, so a very practical subject, but hopefully these will cross over into academic subjects as well. And there's some general just uni life advice as well. I also asked my friends what they wish they knew, so I have some advice from them too. So one piece of advice I have is to find out what your university offers. I think it's really important to find out all the different things. There's obviously societies and clubs, there's sport, there's always something for someone. So whether you've done it before or you are just looking for something new, you can definitely find something that you'll enjoy. And it's just a case of trying things and seeing if you enjoy it or not. It can be really hard to make friends when you first move to university, so joining a club or a society really gives you that opportunity to meet people who have a similar interest in something as you do. I think a lot of the time as well, people just attend once and that's not really going to do much because you're not really going to get fully involved, I don't think, unless you're a very outgoing person. So sometimes it just takes going like once or twice, maybe even 3 times to actually get to know people, and even like the tutors if it's tutor run. For me, I found climbing and that's something that I do. I never really climbed before, but I'm lucky enough to go to a university that has a climbing wall, but that's one that you have to kind of keep going to get the benefits. But there's always something for someone. There's always like board games or something sport related if you're already quite sporty, or you can always go and just give it a try. Maybe you haven't done it since like you had to do it in school if you went to college after. And there's no pressure to go to a club or join a society, but they're definitely a good way, and I skipped that during my foundation year. It can always be a bit nerve-wracking going on your own, so maybe even drag along a friend or a flatmate or someone on your course, but try not to be put off if no one will go with you. Always try it yourself as well, because you'll make friends whilst you're there. Don't be afraid to approach people, because chances are they're feeling the exact same way that you are. They're probably also quite nervous, especially on like the first day, first week. Whilst everyone's kind of getting settled in, it's very nerve-wracking, especially if you're not from the area. I had the issue of not really fitting into my friend group when I first joined, and it took a tutor pulling me aside and telling me to go and talk to some of the people for me to actually realise that there were people there with things in common with me. But once I went up to them and asked if I could sit with them and go to lunch with them, that's when we started to bond and we create that friendship. I'm still friends with them now, some of my best friends. So one of the best ways is to just ask if you can sit next to someone or go to lunch with someone. That definitely gets conversation going with people, especially on like the first sort of days. I don't know about every course, but mine always seems to have like a few icebreakers and things like that, which I hate, but if you're sat next to someone that you feel like you're going to click with, it really helps. So yeah, don't be afraid to switch your group if you're just not fitting in, and if you feel like there's other people in the class that you feel like you would do better with, because that's how I felt. And I'm so glad that I went up to them and asked to sit with them. As well as that, if you try to get to know a lot of people on your course or in your class, then you're going to meet new people that you might not have realised that you had things in common with, or you might not have realised that you would actually click with them. So it really helps to get to know as many people as possible, and then you can find your group. But when it comes to like practical courses like mine, it helps to get to know everyone so that when you're put together, it's not so awkward. I found it really helpful to find a group chat before I went. For my accommodation, there was a big group chat with a lot of people in. I don't really speak to anyone in the group chat anymore, but it was really helpful for that first sort of few days, first week, like getting through freshers, to meet people around the accommodation. It really helped to build like that sort of connection with people before going to university, so it kind of took the stress away, and the anxiousness. It was still quite scary, but it kind of took it away because you kind of made friends already. It also helped me to make a friend who was on my course and in my class. So on the first day we went together, and that kind of took a lot of stress away from that, because it meant that we could sit together. Although we then went on to make our own friends and went separate ways, it still was nice to have each other there that first day to really feel like you knew someone. So yeah, a group chat is a really good way to feel more comfortable moving over to somewhere new. It might not be so necessary if you're staying close to a university near you, but it gives you people to spend Freshers Week with, which you may be interested in or not. Mine was during COVID, so we were limited to just drinking at the accommodation. We couldn't go out, so that was quite nice because everyone was sort of together a lot. Moving on from freshers and to actual uni work and spending time on your course, for me it's been really important to keep on top and on track of your work, because the workload is quite a lot, especially for a practical course. I'm not sure about an academic level course, but for a practical course there is a lot of work that goes into it, and you really don't want to fall behind, because once you're behind it's really hard to play catch up. So I found that planning time wisely really helps, and for my friends as well, that if you don't plan your time wisely, if you aren't keeping track of where you are, if you don't have a list of things that you need to get done, it can become quite a lot and you can lose track of where you are, what you actually need to do, and then you're playing catch up at the very end when it's deadline week and you're already stressed. As well as that, for my course in particular, we take a lot of notes, and it's so important to do that, because when we go back to it, it's all things that we really need, and if you go back to just the PowerPoint, sometimes it doesn't really make sense. The good thing about Zoom is that you can rewatch it, so you can see your lecturers like talking about it, but if you're in class and then you just go back and you look at the PowerPoint, it can be really quite confusing because it's just bullet points or notes. So it's really important to take keynotes and any sort of information that you're gonna have to look back on. And definitely do look back on your work. Don't just write it down and leave it, because when you look back you're gonna understand it even more. As well as that, I would say that it's really important to start your work as soon as it's set. Even if that's just writing the title and planning out the sections. That's what I usually do. I write out the title and the key information for the front of it. We write a lot of journals rather than essays. So I'll write out like the title page and put in some subheadings or a contents page so I know what I actually need to be including in it. And I'll write out a plan and try and keep on top of it each week after each lesson. Know how much time you should be spending on your work as well, because you don't want to put too little time into it. You should have like a clear idea of, oh, I'm going to set aside this many hours and I'll do this amount of work on this day, and I'll write up this from this lesson on that day. Just whatever you do, don't leave it until last minute, because it's really stressful, and you are playing catch up and you've got to write so much in so little time, and it's just not going to produce the best work unless you really do work well under pressure. When you are doing your work, I think it's really important that you don't compare your work to someone else's. Obviously you can bounce ideas off of each other and kind of get feedback from other people, but never go, oh, this person got that grade, I got this grade, why am I so bad? Or anything like that, because it's just going to put you down. And instead of that, you should be trying to build yourself up and improving on that instead, whereas that's just going to bring you down and it's going to make you feel bad. Everyone has different strengths and different abilities, and everyone's playing off of those different strengths and abilities. So what you might do really bad in one area, someone could do really well in, and vice versa. So you could do really well and your friend could do quite bad. It's just because everyone has the different strengths, and everyone works differently, and everyone retains information differently, writes differently. And I think at university level as well, they don't really teach you how to write academically, which is something that I know that myself and my friends have struggled with, is learning how to write it in a way that the university wants it. So yeah, you should be always trying to improve, but never comparing your work to someone else's. It's just going to make you feel bad, and it's just not worth the stress, because you should be focusing on your work only and how to improve it rather than just going, oh, their work's better. It really helps to do a course that you're passionate about, something that you really feel like you're going to enjoy, rather than something that you're going to scrape the barrel and just not really care about. When you're actually passionate about something that you're doing, you're going to actually want to spend the time putting effort into the work and researching and learning more. Whereas when you do something that you just don't really care about, you're going to feel like it's a chore, you're not going to want to do the work, you're just going to feel like you're there. And that's when people start to neglect doing the work and they spend their time at 2 a.m. in the library right before a deadline. And it's just not a healthy way to live either. Obviously, sometimes you're not going to really feel passionate about things. There's always going to be part of it that you don't enjoy doing. You know, not everyone enjoys writing an essay or things like that. So there's always going to be parts that you don't really enjoy, and that's just life, unfortunately. But when you have a subject that you actually do care about, you'll enjoy the research side of it as well. One of my friends suggested that she thinks it's good to have a goal in mind when you start university of what you want to do after university, and I agree and disagree as well with her. I think for some people it can really help you to be focused on your work and determined and motivated, but for some other people I think that it's okay to not know where you want to be or where you want to go, because you might find it as you go. There's usually a few routes that you can go with through careers, and sometimes it just takes exploring those and experimenting with the different things that you've got available at university to find something that you really enjoy, and I think that's totally fine too. So for some people it works and it will help you to stay on track, but for some other people I wouldn't stress that you have to know exactly what you want to be doing after university. I think that you can definitely develop and find that passion for something during university. I know for me, I enjoyed the application side of makeup before going to university, and now that I'm there, I actually enjoy the workshop side a lot more. And that's only because I got to experiment and experience it at uni. So if I didn't have that, I don't think that I would see that as an area to go towards. As well as that, tutors can really help you to find a path of where you want to go. They can tell you sort of how you can get there. They might have connections that they can help you get set up with. They'll know sort of areas that you can go into, and I think it's really important to befriend your tutors because they are there to help you, and they don't want to come into work just having a miserable, boring day dealing with people. They want to actually build that connection with their students as well. All my tutors are absolutely lovely, and it makes going into university so much better because you actually feel like you've got a friend there in them. I know not every tutor is like that, but the more that you can have that you have that connection with and you feel like you can go to them, it really does help. So remember to be nice to your tutors, because if you don't want to be there, they probably don't want to be there either. But if you make it a fun place for them too, they're more likely to actually help. And finally, try to keep a healthy social life versus uni work balance. It can be really easy to get caught up in one or the other, going out all the time and neglecting your uni work or neglecting your social life and just working. I know people as well that have jobs and they can find it quite difficult to find the time to spend on uni. So if you're going to work, try and find something that will fit around uni rather than trying to fit uni around work, which can be easier said than done, obviously. It can really help to organise when you're going to put time in for uni work, so set a certain amount of time when you get back from uni or on your days off that you will spend just doing uni work, and then after that you can go and socialise or spend time with your flatmates or having your own time to yourself to kind of relax and unwind. But it's definitely important to keep it balanced and not to get caught up in just the social aspect of uni, because that's when your grades will start to slip. And then obviously don't spend all your time just working on uni work, because then you're missing out on sort of the experience of getting to socialise with different people. Uni is such a good time to spend learning different things, whether it's your course or learning about other people or like hobbies and other activities. Definitely make time for that, because you're not going to have this time back. Once it's gone, and you will regret it if you don't make the most of it. But most importantly, go and have fun, because uni is such a good time. I've had some of the best experiences. I've met some amazing people and my bestest friends, and I'm so glad that I decided to go instead of staying at home. And moving away to somewhere new is really exciting because you get to explore so many different places. You can hop on a train and go somewhere else as well. You don't have to stay in where your university is. So yeah, definitely go, definitely have fun, and make the most of the time that you've got there, and try everything whilst you're there. Try new activities, new hobbies, and you'll definitely find something that you enjoy. Don't stress too much about trying to balance workloads. Just spend your time on work and make sure you're not neglecting it. Try not to be nervous about making new friends. Everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's worried. Everyone's somewhere new. It's the first day of school feeling again after you've probably been somewhere for quite a while. It's a really exciting time and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So with that being said, I hope you have a lovely day. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and let me know if you have anything that you wish that you knew before you started uni, and any tips and advice that you give to someone else that is looking to start. And I will see you next time. Bye.